Yeah. You ain't see me activated. You better hope that you never see me agitated.
Alright, welcome back. So in the last video, what we did is we went over elements and attributes and things of that nature, basic document structure, and so we've kind of come to the point now where we're over that little beginning hump and we're getting introduced. This will actually be the last video for section what I'll call 1 dash. So next we'll go into 2 dash whatever, because in this section we're going to introduce, actually I have 3 videos, so this and perhaps I might do 1 or 2 more, but I think I have 3 videos in total including this one. But what I'll do is go over CSS now, and so let me just jump in, and I think we're going to basically stay in the editor here. I enlarged it so that we can see a little bit better, and I moved the content down so you're not seeing as much of this stuff down here and it's not as distracting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some just basics, right? We already know what an H1 hello world looks like. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to duplicate this a few times. And what I can do is delete all these. And then I can go H2, 3, whoops, not 34. 5, 6, and now I have each one of the headings, and I'm also going to create a paragraph with some lorem text. We'll just say 10, and we'll make a couple of those ones. And so we have already seen here, and I can get rid of this just so it's not so distracting, and you know kind of what you're dealing with up front. We've already seen that we need the HTML tags. You see it highlight for me that where the closing tag is on the head and on the body, which is going to contain all this stuff. And so let's go ahead and pop over and take a look at what that looks like. And right here we have the H1 through the H6, and we have the paragraphs, and you can see that they are just, the browser is giving them some kind of formatting. This one's obviously bigger than this one, is bigger than this one, and so on. And they have a certain kind of text for their paragraphs and a certain kind of spacing in between things. That's all kind of preset up just with the element that we created back in HTML. So it's just these very basic elements. But what if we want all these to kind of look different and do different things? Well, that's where CSS is going to come in. And the first part of CSS that we're going to learn is with the attribute tag, which you've already seen, and that is the style tag. So here we're going to have the style tag, and you're going to have style equals double quotations, and within that, now we have a series of things that we can use to change the appearance of the content for this particular heading. So now we can say color, for example, and it's going to be the name, color, the keyword color, a colon, and then we're going to have an actual color. So we might say blue, for example, just a simple color here. And so now I save that, and I'm going to press, go back out here, and now I can see my text is blue. And I can now go into this one and give it a new style tag, and I can say text align, and we'll say center, boom. And now I look over here and we have it going to the middle of the page. And so you start to see how we can move things around. And we're going to give this one a style tag as well, and we're going to say background color, and we're going to say maroon. And so now it has this background on that element, which stretches all the way across the page. We'll talk about why it stretches all the way across the page another time here, but let's say we want this next one to also have a style called maroon, or the background color maroon. But then additionally, I like to have a little space here. Additionally, I also want it to be text align center, and we'll go ahead and change the color of the text to white. And now let's take a look at that. And so we have it coming to the middle of the page versus this one staying at the beginning. This one's at the middle of the page, no background. This one's blue. And now on this next one, we can do something called padding. And in order to make padding apparent, I'm also going to give it a background color. Let's go ahead and say and then we look at this, and you can see this particular hello world has a bunch of padding around it, is what that's called. So let's go ahead and look at another example. And what else we can do is we can say style, and we could say background and then we're going to give this something called a width, right? We talked about this a little bit. Oops, excuse me. And we'll say width is maybe 200 pixels, and the height is also 200 pixels, so we'll get a nice little box. And let's take a look. And let's also, let's go text. Okay, so the text is in the center, and then we can also center the element itself in the page. And there's different things that we can do for paragraphs. We can also say style, and we can talk about font size, and we can say something like, let's see what that looks like, and or we could say 30 pixels, which is a little smaller than 3 EM. And we'll go into what EM is, and we'll go into, viewport height, I think is one. Yep. And then there's different ways to call that out, but you can change the style, you can change the max width, and I guess we don't need these other ones because you've seen enough here just to get introduced. And so I'm not going to continue to go on, but you see what the point is here is that you can change around the way that this looks. The browser is going to give it a standard look, and you can create padding, which is, around the content. You can create margin, which is between that piece of content and any other piece of content around it. You can change the color, you can change the shape, you can change the size, you can change all sorts of neat little things and start to make this look, like a web page. I don't know why I chose red so much in this one or maroon so much. I guess it is my favorite color, but that's kind of a quick little introduction. But let's just say in a regular website, what we really want is a little uniformity, right? So we're going to have all of our web pages, we're going to have more than just one web page. And what we're going to want is we're going to want a little uniformity around if a user is coming to my first page and they have a heading and they scroll down and they see another heading and then they click and follow that to another page and they see another heading there. All those should be basically uniform. They don't want a unique experience typically for each and every different heading. So what we typically want to do is we want to have like a set style where we say, hey, this is what we want, and we make it consistent across the website. And so we say text align center, for example, and then we have this particular way of setting up a heading. And then what if we have another one of these that we want to do, duplicate. Well, now I've got to make sure that each time the style is copied in, and now I can actually have exact copies across my web page. But as you can see, this becomes a little bit cumbersome. So, it's going to get really overwhelming really fast if I have to put this style and information in every single tag. And if I forget, like if I copy an H1 and then I forget to include that tag, then I would be, kind of out of place, and they would have a different experience, and I have to maintain that as the website grows, as the web page grows bigger and bigger. Then I'm going to be dealing with more and more of that type of situation where I have to sit here and manage that. It becomes very, very tedious. I think you get the point. So I'm going to move on here now, and the next video we'll talk about how to actually fix that situation so that we can use this style or CSS a little bit easier. So we'll plan on that for the next one, and I will catch you then. See you.